Hey guys, so this one's going to be a little bit shorter of a module because we've already done the hard work in the last module of creating two distinct outlines. And if you missed that one, please go back and watch that intro video and how to create the two outlines because that is really the foundation for every other video in this series. So what's a day in the life of a fried brain like mine? Maybe you get up and you work out if you have the time to, and then you're on your train commute or in your car driving to work, getting to work by 8 o'clock. Well, your energy's probably low then too, because you probably stayed up all night studying. So hopefully these tools that we create today might be part of the morning commute podcast you listen to or the audiobook on your way to work. You have lunch break, you try to squeeze in like 10 MBE questions real quick. Maybe you might even try to do one quick AE and read the model answer. Well, I hope after this, you might also be able to throw in prompting your NotebookLM in the app for some black letter law quizzes or create 5 MBE trick quizzes based on your outline. And then you get off work and you've hit a wall. Your energy is definitely depleting. This is my curve of energy, by the way, on the screen. And you try to attempt one MEE practice essay, but your brain is pretty much like, nope, you're done for the day. So instead you scroll TikTok. Well, what you could be doing instead is quickly drafting out your rule statements and quick bullet points on what your analysis would be in a conclusion or in an outline form to an essay, and then uploading it to a project in Claude or in ChatGPT to get some very quick feedback catered to your particular writing. And that's something we'll cover in the next video. And then by 8 p.m., we have cognitive failure. We have hit zero energy zone. And I actually think the nighttime is the best point where you're like done for the day, is to log any questions you missed into what I call a book of shame, because the book of shame is actually something else that you will utilize in a NotebookLM setting to help go back and reinforce rules from questions you've missed in the past. So that's the day in the life of a fried brain, and hopefully incorporating AI tools to help you get to bar passage, whether you're doing February or July. So I found this one Reddit post where someone said, I returned from work drained and have almost no drive to start bar prep. And I think that's because by 8 p.m. or maybe even earlier for you, for me, it's like 6 p.m., all of our executive function is just depleted because we've had to been on for work. Most people's jobs, I'm sure, if they pay you, you probably have to use your brain on some level. And we just don't have the time for sitting for a 3-hour video lecture, passive study. Like we have to incorporate active learning. The core insight here is that the tool that you pick to use, it doesn't matter as much as your ability to bypass your daily cognitive wall. So pick something that you're most likely to have the least friction to say like, yeah, I can do that. For me, that's why I love the quiz feature. I can do the quiz on NotebookLM really quickly from my phone. I can do it in my bed. It's like the friction to starting is much easier than me being like, oh, I got to go to grab my laptop and I got to go type an ME essay, etc. So like pick tools that are going to have the least friction for you to actually like do it. Okay, so last week we split the documents. Important. Again, don't progress any further until you've done that step. The book of shame. This is one of my favorite things. Again, big Reddit user. I learned this from some random person on Reddit, and I think a lot of people use this concept too, is you really want to keep track of every single MBE or MEE question you got wrong. For the MBE specifically, you need to know why the right answer is right and why the wrong answers are wrong. And you can do one of two ways. You can physically type into a document like, this is my book of shame for constitutional law and question number whatever, this was the question, these are the choices, I got this one wrong, and the right answer is this because of X, and the other choices are wrong because Y, and keep it in a living document. I keep mine in my Google Drive because I update it regularly and I can access it no matter if I'm on my laptop or on my phone. I've also sometimes been a little bit lazy about having to type the whole thing, so I like screenshot it and I upload it to ChatGPT, and I literally just say like, please just spit out for me the questions and the answer choices, and the screenshot talks about why the explanations, put that as well so that I can easily copy and paste this into another document. And if you want to really get specific, you can say like, put it in source code plain text, and then it'll pull up this other separate like grayed out box area where you can easily copy and then you paste it into a Google Doc. And that's the way that I've been doing more often lately because I've just not been wanting to type. That's just me. Typing it out is perfectly fine, or voice to text on your doc works as well. But the important thing is like you're actually capturing what questions you're getting right and wrong. Okay, so I did mention last time, just putting a plug in again, 11 reader for your black letter law outline. You get clean black letter law for audiobook style reading to you. But Notebook LM, this is what this module is all about. And what I love so much about it is you're going to take both of the two outlines that you created, the black letter law outline, the MBE tricks and tips outline, and you're going to create audio conversational style dynamic podcast. And that mode is called Deep Dive. And it's where two AI hosts are there. And you can even give it a specific prompt. Like right now, what I've been doing is, again, remember how I'm marrying up my outline with the NCBE headers. So I'll take constitutional law, separation of powers, let's just say, and I will type into NotebookLM's prompt section, like, I want you to utilize the BLL outline and the MBE outline and have a dynamic conversation about both the black letter law and the MBE tips and tricks as it relates to separations of powers. And I actually have much more detailed prompts on copying, pasting, how you can do it very quickly with my Notion document, which I'll talk about more at the end. But generally speaking, that's how I do it. And I also like to I put the vibe, because I even like to put that information in, like, please try to make this as layman terms as possible. My brain is fried half the time. I really need you to distill these complex concepts into simple terms and explain it to me in a way that it's easy to understand. Yeah, see what you get. You get all different types of conversations, and it's kind of fun to see the different ones that get produced. But the key here is I think the deep dive feature for me seemed to have the best version of a podcast that made it seem like it was actually pulling content from my outline. You also have to just make sure those boxes are checked on the side panel for your outline before hitting generating the audio. The other really cool feature with NotebookLM is you can generate quizzes at any time. I'm talking like you can do straight black letter law quizzes from taking your black letter law outline. You could do a combo by selecting all the documents. I particularly love doing a quiz based off of my book of shame. So I'll select the document that's like book of shame for constitutional law, generate a quiz. Again, trying to find ways to engage with the material when my brain is fatigued and it's something a little bit different than reading a dull outline. And I'm not a physical flashcards person. I know a lot of people like critical paths. For me, critical paths is just way too comprehensive, way too much to memorize. And this is the way that I've chosen to move forward, by making sure that my source documents contain the bar prep material that I know is most tested on. And then that way, anything generated after the fact will be drills of things that I know I need to actually know. Another thing I like to do too is in the free chat, the regular chat area of a notebook project, I will literally just chat there. Hey, I'm needing you to quiz me on the black letter law. Just spit back out, pick something from my black letter law outline that you need me to recite a rule statement from, and then grade my response and tell me what I was missing and how I could do better. That's another way to like type out black letter law, because after all, with the MEE, you're going to be typing your response, so it's good practice. Another really cool feature about the podcast, you can actually, I download mine and I upload it to my Apple Music so I can have it on my phone on the go, but you can actually interact with the podcast, which is kind of fun. I've done it before where you just interrupt the host and you say join and interrupt the host and be like, well, how does this relate to XYZ? And it will actually respond back to you. Again, just another fun way to do interactive learning. So that's the main part of NotebookLM. Next week, we'll be diving into how to use ChatGPT and Claude to grade your essays. And it's not as simple as just uploading your essay and be like, grade me. Like there's a little bit of setup involved, but I promise it's not too scary. And it's just something I really recommend if you're using those tools anyway to ask questions, to put some guardrails in place to actually make sure you're getting beneficial feedback. Again, I have created a lot more in-depth information in my Notion that accompanies this course that has the copy-paste prompts. Easy for you to get started. You don't have to generate your prompts on your own. Obviously, modify to tailor it to your specific situation. For example, if you're taking California versus like the national UBE, you would have to make tweaks like that. But it makes your life much easier, and I highly encourage you to go check it out. All I ask is that you subscribe to Your Lawyer Bestie on Substack. And if you're like, no, too much of a lift, I don't want to subscribe, that's fine too. Just go pick any of my articles on there and comment, I'm here from YouTube, and I will send you the link to the Notion page. Again, it has every single prompt that I've been talking about these videos and more. There's a lot of bonus information as well. I go through a lot more detail there. I just think it's a little bit too much for a video to be talking through the nuances of the prompts. And if you want to get a weekly letter into your inbox with tips and tricks like these, please consider subscribing to Your Lawyer Bestie Substack. All right, thanks so much, and we'll see each other next week.